What is perceived by the teacher or student will bring about a performance that matches or is limited by the perception. We need to break this cycle because students themselves don't even know what's possible for them because they can't see or get outside of the perception of their teachers, their parents, or society. This is half, or maybe more than half, of the journey and the struggle. What are we doing in education to support the view of ourselves and the programming of opportunities in our society? Though the lack of equity is a major issue I witness almost every day, it's a problem tons of kids in our school systems deal with daily. As a student that's about to come full circle in the education system, I've decided to take a deeper look into why my time as a student was so hard and why it's so hard for other students that look like me. In elementary school, I didn't have the best reputation when it came to academics. So I can vividly remember sitting in class feeling lost, day in and day out, just thoroughly confused. I never really understood what was going on, and I never understood why my peers would get tests back with scores I had never seen on my paper. It took for my teacher to pull me aside one day and ask me, "What are you going to do?" What am I going to do? I thought, I'm literally 10. He asked me, "How do you expect to get into a good college if you can't keep up with the class? How are you going to be a lawyer if you don't know how to listen? How are you going to build a rocket ship if you don't know your multiplication tables?" I looked at him and said, "I don't know who told you I want to be a lawyer, but they're lying to you." Based off of this perception of myself and the limitations I felt, literally opportunities were being removed from my mind as to who I could become and what I was going to be able to do. I mean, I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer then, and I know I don't want to be a lawyer now, but what if the reason I feel that way is because of the limitations I felt when I was younger? Life is too short, and childhood is even shorter. We need to make sure that all children have equal opportunities to become whatever they want to be, and it starts with positive role models. I hope my journey here today to deliver this talk will inspire someone who looks like me or feels like me to say to themselves, "I can do it too." Now that I'm 7 years older, I can see a major issue that resides in our society. We assume entirely too much. We also aren't giving our youth enough outlets to express themselves, express what they want to be when they get older. Though I'm speaking on the emotions and hardships millions of kids across the globe feel, I'm also the physical manifestation of the system. We're brought up in an educational system that is striving for equity and equality for all, but falls short when it comes to kids of color. Many kids of color come from backgrounds that don't have the resources to help support their dreams or help them achieve their goals. When you come from a family that just doesn't have the few extra bucks to get you into that dance class and or secure you that vocal coach, then sometimes in the long run, that can come back and bite you in the butt. It sucks, but we live in a world where you cannot escape someone else's perception of you. So you have to stay true to who you are and be confident in your skills and abilities. You must have the power within to bounce back. Though saying you gotta have thick skin is cliche, but it's also real. And to be honest, the people with the thickest skin I know are my family members. My mom has always told me that there's going to be people that don't want to see you win. But sometimes you just gotta tell them to close their eyes. And I understand what I'm saying is easier said than done and often can go in one ear and out the other. So to allow my words to truly resonate with you more, I decided to write a poem. This poem is currently titled Power. I'm addicted to winning and I can't be benched. I have a fire inside of me that won't be quenched, and I'm going to war for every black queen they lynched. I raise my right hand to the sky and scream, why? I see the tears fall off my fallen brothers and sisters. They feel as though they lost. Like to some, their lives are just as important as a coin toss. If it lands on heads, they're shot in the back of their heads. And if it lands on tails, they're shipped off to live the rest of their lives in prison cells. There's no justice in this country for Black people other than what we make for ourselves. So why do they keep trying to close our books and put them back on the shelves? Nevertheless, my people are beautiful and strong. Hair, legs, and arms are long. Black women create culture. White women become the vulture. Black man speaks facts, and a white man then lays them on their backs. To some, we're loud and vulgar, hang us some trees like we're ogres. And to others, we speak light and truth. And I just said it so we don't need any proof. To my people of color, listen to me when I say this. You are wanted, you are important, and you deserve the world. Never let anyone strip that from you. And for so many of you, this world is going to be full of opportunities for you to take. Don't sit around. Let them be the ones that you create. And you will be the only one in the crowd. But stand up, say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. Thank you. For the longest time, it would hurt to wake up every morning to go to school, to then be cheated out of opportunities because the powers that be have racial biases. Racial biases hiding inside of them behind all the smoke and mirrors they put on every morning so that society doesn't know who they truly are. And honestly, it's something every Black student ends up facing at least one point in time in their education. We all deal with an unnatural amount of hate. There has been numerous times when I have been overlooked in class, skipped, and ridiculed for the slightest mistakes. Not only am I being cheated out of a proper education, I'm also being held to a higher standard than the other students. There comes a point in time when you start to think it's you. I would have a question, but I would keep quiet because I didn't want to disrupt the class. This is the mentality that was being forced upon me. I was starting to conform to this institutionalized style of teaching. So now I'm going to do something, and I strongly invite you all to play along. I'm going to speak into an experience, and if this experience speaks to you, please stand up. Please stand up if you've ever been told you're not smart enough. Please stand up if you've ever been told you're not tall enough. Please stand up if you've ever been told you're too big. Please stand up if you've ever been told you're too small. Please stand up if you've ever been told you're too white. Now, please stand up if you've ever been told you're too dark. Now, take a look around the room. Notice who's standing with you. We aren't alone in this experience. And what helped me was to see that I'm not alone in my experience either. But now it's time to give back. Let's share our knowledge and wisdom with everyone, so that they know that they're not alone either. Thank you. You may be seated. Right now, I'm applying to college, and 50% of the schools I'm applying to, including my number one choice, Carnegie Mellon, have a mandatory requirement to do classical monologues as part of the application. Now, that would be fine, but last year when I was supposed to learn classical pieces, I missed out on a huge chunk of the instruction because of an issue I had with the teacher. Thankfully, he's no longer at the school, but that doesn't change my experience or the experience of other kids in the class. And that's why I'm standing here today. I invite you all to get involved where you can. Yes, you may not all become teachers, but where can you volunteer your time to fill in the gaps for a student so they'll come application time, they don't feel something is missing. They feel prepared and confident to take that leap of faith to invest in their future. I look forward to a society that's going to use its resources to uplift one another. Many students, like myself, want to pursue a career in the arts. It's just we can't excel in the things we want to do if there's no outlets for us to take. Maybe there's this assumption that we all just want to play ball or sell dope for the rest of our lives. But for a huge amount of us, that is not the case. We see the beauty in seeing ourselves on screen. And we see the skill and power and dedication it takes to perform in front of a sold-out arena. All I'm asking for is the equal opportunity to see myself there as well. I've had my share of artistic opportunities throughout my education. I was a semifinalist in Spotlight, a California state competition, which was much further than I expected. I also received a merit scholarship. I'm in the August Wilson Monologue competition, a competition commemorating the successes of a Black playwright. I was also a featured artist on the Grinch soundtrack alongside Tyler, the Creator. That's a pretty big deal from a little Black boy from Inglewood. But I have still seen the divide in the arts for Black children and kids of color. They're put in a box when it comes to what's expected of them and excelling. And it's about time for a change. Let's reconstruct the system our youth are brought up in. Let's put the spotlight back on them so everyone has the opportunity to shine. Where can you get involved? Start doing research on the programs that are in our schools today, right now, before you leave this event. Not just what's available to some, but what's available for all. What's the environment like for all children? Does everyone feel like they're being included on the conversation? If we work proactively together as a community, we can build a supportive, inclusive society for all. It's clear that change is inevitable for every generation. Let's make a change for the better. Thank you.
Take it back. Take it back.